A jury has convicted two men of conspiring to kidnap Michigan's Democrat Governor Gretchen Whitmer in 2020. Adam Fox and Barry Croft Jr. were also found guilty Tuesday of conspiring to obtain a weapon of mass destruction. 4 months ago, a different jury could not reach a unanimous decision on the verdicts. Now each man faces life in prison. Arpan Lobo has been following this story. He's a reporter for the Detroit Free Press. Arpan, thanks for being here. So what did we learn about the plot and the suspects in this trial?
Right. Matt, this is the second trial against Fox and Croft in particular, but in this case against the conspiracy to kidnap Governor Whitmer back in 2020, a lot of the evidence presented in the second trial was very similar to what was shown in the first trial. Audio recordings of these men discussing their plans about an attack on the government. It evolved through different stages. At first, there were discussions about storming Michigan's Capitol, similar to what we saw on January 6th of 2021. Then it developed into firebombing Michigan State police cars in Lansing, eventually before it circled on a plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer from her vacation home in the northern part of the state. Before that happened, though, six men were ultimately arrested, largely in part due to FBI undercover informants who gathered intelligence and those audio recordings that were played in the trial. So a lot of the content in the trial was particularly the different plans, but also a lot of the recordings about just the rhetoric these individuals had, kind of anti-government views. They were particularly frustrated with COVID-19 restrictions, as a lot of people were back in 2020. And ultimately, though, as the federal government prosecutor said today, they can be fed up, but when you take it too far, as what happened, at least in this case, there will be consequences.
So one of the federal prosecutors said that the defendant's goal was to not necessarily capture Governor Whitmer, but it was to, quote, set off a second American Civil War. So the question that everyone, I think, has is why was Gretchen Whitmer the target of this plot?
Right. I think that's a great question. As I mentioned, the COVID restrictions in particular were a point of frustration. Michigan, like a lot of other states, had health restrictions in place back then to deal with the pandemic. Michigan was among the states hit a bit harder at times. Governor Whitmer became a target after Adam Fox and Barry Croft were connected online. In particular, when you mentioned the American Revolution, Barry Croft had a lot of Facebook posts about being a patriot. He had a tattoo with the three on it, talking about being part of the 3 Percenters group. Kicking off this American Revolution, or Second Civil War, referred to as the Boogaloo at times, was meant to be the what was going to be kicked off by kidnapping Governor Whitmer.
Well, Whitmer herself said these plots are, quote, a disturbing extension of radicalized domestic terrorism that festers in our nation, threatening the very foundation of our republic. So are officials there in Michigan worried about more extremism or plots, especially leading up to more elections?
I don't know if elected leaders in Michigan are particularly worried about more plots like this, but I will say that a lot of elected officials are incredibly concerned, as Governor Whitmer's statement indicated, about the rhetoric going on, as particularly heading into November. The Republican-endorsed candidate for Attorney General, Matthew DePerno, after the first trial resulted in no convictions, was posting memes on Twitter kind of making fun of Governor Whitmer and this case. And so there has been a lot of concern about not exactly condemning these types of this type of rhetoric. And so state officials, particularly Governor Whitmer, but also Attorney General Dana Nessel, are hopeful that today's convictions can kind of send a message that this rhetoric will not fly anymore.
All right, great reporting, Arpan Lobo. Thank you for that.
Thanks for having me.